Hello, everyone, and welcome to what is a slight test. It's going to be a shortcast about the Imperial Guard in Warhammer 40K, and specifically about why they are such an interesting force when it comes to the lore. And a lot of the people, well, I would say that everyone who has been acquainted with Warhammer 40K, even to some degree, has been acquainted with the basic players. There's the Space Marines, then there's the Orcs, the Eldar, the Chaos, the Imperial Guard, and the Tau. But the thing that makes the Imperial Guard, even though I personally am a Space Marine player, I play Salamander Space Marines, but when I choose to read a book, a novel from the 40K universe, when I look into the lore, when I find out more, it's almost invariably stuff about the Imperial Guard. And the reason for that is because they are just so damn interesting. And what makes them interesting is, on one hand, what they are, and on the other hand, what they are not. What they are not is augmented super soldiers clad in armor who know no fear. They aren't brutish beasts that were bred, that were engineered for war. They aren't advanced aliens with targeting programs and fucking battle suits. They aren't sneaky motherfuckers. They aren't the sneaky remnants of a once great empire. They are, by and large, humanity. And seeing how they are, by and large, just humanity. They are the men and women of Imperium, called upon to perform a service that will cost them their lives. This means that they, as characters, are open to such a broad character arc, because what they represent and what they are capable of are the best qualities and the worst qualities that humanity has to offer. And this makes them far more interesting than Space Marines, who know no fear, because if they know no fear, then they have nothing to conquer in that. A charge into enemy fire means that much less when there's no fear to conquer. But when there's leadership and when there's an actual human effort put forth, that makes the characters and the story that much more enticing. It makes it more relatable. And with this, the Imperial Guard has provided some very great characters. For example, we can take the saint of all guardsmen, Olanius Pius, who stood against the War Master Horus. And imagine his balls. Like, in that moment, a guardsman, a normal human, stands up to a demigod of battle and tells them to fuck off. That is the best humanity has to offer. That is standing up when you've been basically beaten down and conquering the fear. That is getting up despite all the limitations, despite knowing that you will be struck down, knowing that you will die, you still stand up. And that is what makes, well, first of all, it's what makes humanity humanity. We are a bunch of tenacious bastards. I mean, that is how we manage to hunt things. I mean, sure, we couldn't bring down a mammoth, but we could fucking wound it and we would just keep fucking pursuing it forever. And that spirit is kind of doubled in the 40K universe due to the fact that it is such a, well, it's a very, it's the definition of grimdark. And the fact of the matter is, without darkness, light would mean nothing. And in a grimdark universe, there's a lot of darkness to go about. So the light shining through the darkness is ever more so brighter, due to the fact that it comes from such adversity, it comes from such hardship. And with that, for example, if we look at what the individual, for example, let's take some individual characters that are, let's say, the most well-known and the most kind of the best examples of this. For example, we can take Caiaphas Cain, the hero of the Imperium, who, first of all, is basically just a grimdark flashman, but who will openly admit that he is a coward who will run away from fight. But despite this, he goes on to over and over and over not only overcome himself, but also to overcome the odds and to, in fact, become the accidental hero of the Imperium. But he's still a flawed human being, and we know this. He doesn't hide this. He's a scoundrel, he's a coward, but he's a lovable rogue because of these qualities. And on the other end of the spectrum is Colonel Commissar Ibram Gaunt, and Gaunt, and I think Gaunt is probably one of the best known individual characters from the Guardsmen, due to the fact that Gaunt's Ghost is one of the cult series in the Guardsmen canon. Rightly so, considering that it was written by Dan Abnett and is a very good series. But in that series, we once again see, because Gaunt is he's a commissar in the Imperial Guard, so he commands respect in a very different way. He has the authority to dispense justice, to execute cowards, and yet he chooses on many occasions not to. He is probably the best character written into the 40k fluff, because he is a decent person who tries his hardest to not lose his morals and his conviction. And that is, once again, it's because of the fact that he's human. It's because he is capable of errors, he's capable of flaws, but he's also capable of overcoming them. He's capable of building something new from that. That makes him, first of all, able to have this complex character arc, but secondly, makes him far more interesting than, for example, Chaos actually does have some interesting things, but that's again because they are flawed. But let's say Ultramarines, Cato Zacharias, they know no fear, they know very little failure, they are basically going to triumph, and they know they're going to triumph, and they believe that they are going to triumph, so they have no moments of doubt. Whereas the standard guardsman standing in a line, holding the line against orcs, Eldar, Tyranids, everything, the worst things that humanity can face, a guardsman has to face and defeat, or else humanity is doomed. And that makes guardsmen, but basically that gives not only a very good kind of look into what humanity is in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, but also into what humanity itself is actually capable, because it is the ebbs and flows of the human nature. So this has been probably a little bit disjointed and a little bit rambling, but I think it's a very good representation of what makes the Imperial Guard so very interesting in the lore. Sure, individual regiments have their own interesting bits, and that is why, let's say, why someone might be interested in the Valhallans and not the Vostroyans, why someone might be interested in the Mordians and not the, well, let's say the Armageddon Steel Legion. Is it the Armageddon Steel Legion? Mordian Iron Garden, I think it's the Armageddon Steel Legion. So that doesn't matter, because the fact of the matter is each of these regiments, be it then what would be another good pairing? Let's say Cadians and the Tanith First and Only. The Tanith First and Only have a very rich lore due to the fact that they are attached to Gaunt's storyline as well. They are Gaunt's ghosts. But interest into them then goes into what makes a single regiment. What makes this regiment more interesting than this? For example, I'm not very interested in the Armageddon Steel Legion. However, I am rather interested, for example, in the Savlar Chemdogs. And this is a personal interest that, again, has to do with the regimental differences. However, the fact of the matter is that they are still part of the Imperial Guard, and they represent the best and the worst that humanity has to offer, but they also represent the variety. They represent the thousands and millions and countless worlds of the Imperium that have given men and women to fight in this endless war. So at the same time, the regiments themselves in the Imperial Guard show not only the unity but also the diversity of humanity. Countless regiments with countless different cultures and traditions and little ways come together to fight a common enemy. And that is, again, first of all, that's a very powerful sentiment whenever in human history, when it comes to the idea of are we actually capable of looking past what separates us and standing together for one united cause. But it also, again, goes more and more into the fact that the Imperial Guard are interesting and they are fascinating and they are powerful, not because they are augmented superhumans in power armor who know no fear, but because they are the bog standard that humanity has to offer, standing there in the cold, freezing rain in a flak jacket holding a flashlight. And they will stand down the night. Thanks for joining me for this, and if you'd like to hear more of this kind of stuff, and if you'd like me to do more of this kind of stuff, please comment down below. This is just a test, so it's doubly appreciated in this situation if you leave feedback. Please join me again on Sunday for a stream of Alien Isolation, starting at UK 1 PM. I'll see you there. Cheers. Goodbye.